Ethan Walker was standing in the Resolute's command room, staring at the holographic display that flickered. The Imperial fleet had come. Their sleek silver ships spread across the chamber, floating carelessly along the solar system's edge, emitting a haunting glow. His crew discreetly labored around him, the tension thick in the air. "Ethan," he muttered to himself, his fingers grazing the command console's edge. They had anticipated this moment for months. Months of hearsay, coded signals, and reconnaissance. The Empire's haughtiness had finally brought them here. Lieutenant Sarah Hayes, his second-in-command, was the lone constant in this chaos. Now they had arrived, ready to establish their supremacy over Earth. Leaning in next to him, Hayes spoke in a tight, controlled voice. "They are using their vanguard. It's not very sophisticated yet, but the real firepower will come soon." Ethan nodded, his expression unreadable. The bridge crew behind them glanced at Earth anxiously. For millennia, the Galactic Empire had dominated, crushing anyone who dared to resist. Earth had always been viewed as a backwater planet with outdated technology and an insignificant fleet. But this time, things were different. Unbeknownst to the Empire, Earth had been silently preparing. Ethan stepped forward, the hologram's glow casting sharp shadows on his face. "Activate the cloaking field," he ordered. After a brief pause, Hayes motioned to the crew. The Resolute shimmered momentarily, then vanished from the Imperial screens. A gentle hum filled the room. "They won't expect us to hide in the vast emptiness of space," Ethan said, a bitter smirk tugging at his lips. "The Empire has never been subtle. When they send scouts, they'll think we're an easy target." Hayes hesitated. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" Ethan locked eyes with her. "There's nothing else we can do. This is the only way." A beat of silence lingered before Hayes nodded, her eyes hardening with determination. Minutes passed. Every second dragged on as the Imperial vanguard cautiously advanced. The tension on the bridge was palpable. As previously mentioned, their ships, swift and sleek, cast long shadows across the empty void. Each bristled with weapons capable of annihilating entire planets. Earth's resistance appeared pitiful in comparison. Ethan watched as one of the Imperial scouts broke formation, moving toward their location. The engines of the scout craft buzzed steadily, closer and closer. "Now," Ethan ordered. The Resolute emerged from the shadows like a predator, its armament systems locked onto the scout ship, which didn't even have time to react. A single, precise explosion turned it into a ball of fire and rubble. The bridge erupted into a frenzy of activity. Hayes barked sharp commands as the crew recalibrated the targeting systems. Ethan stood motionless, his thoughts racing. The scout ship was merely a warning shot. The real test was still to come. "Captain, the rest of the fleet is on high alert," an officer reported. "Let them come," Ethan replied coolly. "We're just getting started." At the fleet's perimeter, more Imperial ships broke formation. This time they brought in their cruisers bristling with advanced weapons. "The Empire's done playing games," Hayes muttered, her voice tense. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Shields up, weapons on standby." The Imperial cruisers unleashed dazzling streaks of energy, slicing through space. The Resolute swerved with precision, its thrusters firing in quick bursts to evade the bombardment. "They still don't know what they're dealing with," Ethan muttered. "Sir?" Hayes hesitated. "Should we engage the pulse cannon?" Ethan's voice was low and firm. "Do it." Deep within the Resolute, the pulse cannon began to charge. Its core pulsed with a menacing light, the energy radiating through the ship. The Empire, unaware of the trap they had walked into, continued their assault. "On my mark," Ethan said, his gaze fixed on the holographic display. The pulse cannon fired. A blinding surge of energy erupted from the Resolute, tearing through the Imperial cruisers. Their shields collapsed, their weapons failed. The once mighty cruisers drifted aimlessly, systems offline. The bridge crew erupted in cheer, but Ethan remained stoic. This was just the beginning. "Captain, the pulse cannon caused a malfunction," an officer shouted. The ship lurched violently, alarms blaring. Ethan gripped the console as Hayes scrambled to stabilize key systems. Dr. Niles, the chief engineer, appeared on the bridge, his face grim. The cannon feedback destabilized the core. If we don't vent the surplus energy, the entire ship will go critical, Niles explained. Ethan glanced at the Imperial fleet, their systems still smoldering. We vent, but it's risky. The shields will drop and will be exposed. Niles hesitated, but nodded. Understood. Turning to Hayes, Ethan issued rapid commands. Prepare for emergency venting. Evacuate non-essential personnel from the lower decks. The crew moved with urgency, following his orders. Seconds felt like hours as the venting process began. The ship shuddered, releasing a brilliant cascade of energy. For a moment, the Resolute flickered into view, vulnerable. Ethan's gaze scanned the display. The Imperial fleet remained motionless, their systems still offline. We're stabilizing, Hayes reported, relief evident in her voice. But before they could celebrate, a new alarm blared. Another ship, Hayes whispered, her voice barely audible. Ethan's blood ran cold. On the holographic display, an unfamiliar vessel appeared. It was sleek, sharp, and exuded a menacing aura. A deep, unfamiliar voice crackled through the comms. You've done well, Captain Walker, but your battle is far from over. Ethan's eyes widened as the reality of the situation sank in. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. As the unidentified vessel closed in, Ethan's energy levels spiked. He gave the command to prepare for impact, realizing that the next battle had already begun. The crew hurried to respond. His voice remained steady despite the dread clawing at his stomach, but deep down, Ethan knew they were horribly unprepared for what was about to happen. The Resolute drew closer as the unidentified craft approached. Ethan's heart pounded as the vessel's dark angular form sliced through space like a blade. Its design and energy signature screamed Imperial, but something about it didn't match anything they'd seen before. Yet it felt familiar. Shields at 50%, Captain, reported Lieutenant Hayes, her voice sharp and steady. Ethan barely registered the words. The weapon systems were active but still recharging from the previous battle, though the vessel wasn't firing yet. All eyes were locked on the holographic screen tracking its trajectory. It was getting dangerously close. Who the hell are they? Ethan whispered. Behind him, Dr. Niles's pale, sweaty face reflected the dim lights of the bridge. Captain. Niles started cautiously. I ran a scan. The ship's energy signature. It's nearly identical to the technology we've been using. Ethan snapped his head toward him, eyes wide. Are you saying? I'm suggesting, Niles stammered, that this ship may have come from the same place as the tech we reverse engineered. His voice faltered. They built the original, Captain. They know exactly what we're capable of. A cold silence filled the command room. Ethan felt the weight of Niles's words. This wasn't just an encounter. It was far more significant than anything the Empire had ever thrown at them. Captain, Hayes called urgently. Incoming transmission from the unknown ship. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a humanoid figure. Its features were sharp, elongated, and its silver skin shimmered under the faint glow of the ship's lights. Its dark onyx eyes bore into Ethan. Captain Walker, the figure said, its voice deep and resonant. You have used our technology to stand against the Empire, admirably so, but you were never meant to wield it. Ethan's jaw tightened. Who are you? We are the creators of the weapon you call a pulse cannon, the entity replied. We abandoned it, understanding the risks it posed. But you brought it back. A shiver ran down Ethan's spine at the veiled fury in its words. We didn't have a choice. The Empire forced our hand. The figure tilted its head as though considering Ethan's words. Perhaps, it said, but the consequences of your actions extend far beyond your understanding. Ethan's eyes hardened. If you're here to stop us, you'll need to do better than a lecture. The entity paused, its expression unreadable. Then its voice turned cold. We are not your enemy, Captain. But if you continue down this path, it trailed off ominously. Ethan clenched his fists. Earth is at risk and we're barely holding on. I don't have time for riddles. Speak plainly or get out of my way. The entity's gaze softened, almost sympathetic. Your technology is unstable, dangerous. If you persist, it will destroy you and your enemies. Ethan fought back a flicker of doubt. We'll deal with the consequences later, he said firmly. The entity studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well, Captain, but remember, the path you walk now leads to ruin. With that, the transmission ended. The alien ship lingered, a moment longer before vanishing into the stars. Silence hung over the bridge. Finally, Lieutenant Hayes broke it. What do we do, Captain? Ethan stared at the empty space where the alien ship had been. The Empire's reinforcements were closing in fast. He had no choice. We've finished the mission, Ethan said firmly. Set course for Earth. We're moving out. The crew sprang into action. Engines roared back to life and the pulse cannon hummed as it prepared for another round. But Ethan couldn't shake the warning echoing in his mind. Captain, Hayes called, her voice tinged with panic. Multiple Imperial signatures just entered the system. Ethan's stomach tightened. How many? Her fingers flew across the console. She paled. 5 destroyers, 2 carriers. She hesitated. And what? Ethan demanded. Hayes swallowed hard. They brought the dreadnought,